Good morning, Year 5, and welcome to your maths lesson for Tuesday. Now, today we are going to have a look at adding mixed numbers, so a combination of integers, which are whole numbers, and fractions. But first of all, let's do a little starter activity that goes over some of the things that you looked at yesterday. So we have got Ava is attempting to answer 3/5 plus 1/10 plus 3/20, and she comes up with the answer 7/35. Do you agree with her and why? Now, you might want to just have a look and see what she's done wrong. You might be able to find the correct answer instead. But do you agree with Ava and why? Okay, then, so let's have a look at what Ava has done here. So what Ava's done, we can see, is she's added the denominators as they are, and she's added the numerators as they are as well. Now, we know from last time that when the denominators are different, like they are here, we can't add the numerators straight away. We need to find equivalent fractions first. Now, what we need to do is we need to get all of the denominators to be 20 to try and help us. So 5 we have to times by 4, which means that we have to do the same to the numerator. So 3/5 is the same as 12/20. Let's look at 1/10. So to get from 10 to 20, we have to times it by 2, which means we need to do the same to the numerator. 1 times 2 is 2, which means that 1/10 is the same as 2/20. Oh, not over 10. And then 3/20 we don't need to change because it already has 20 as the denominator. Now that all three fractions have got the same denominator, all we need to do is add them together. 12 plus 2 is 14, plus another 3 is 17. So our answer should be 17/20. And hopefully we can see where Ava went wrong there. Okay, so today we're looking at adding mixed numbers. Now, a mixed number is an integer and a fraction. So, for example, 3.5. 3 is our integer, half is our fraction. So here we've got two mixed numbers. We've got 1 2/3, and we've got 2 5/6. How can we add them together? First, we can partition the numbers into integers and fractions. So just like we would like tens and ones, here we can do it into whole numbers and fractions. So I can partition 1 2/3 into 1 and 2/3, and I can partition 2 5/6 into 2 and 5/6. Now that makes my job a bit easier because I can add my whole numbers quite easily. 1 add 2 is 3. So that's sorted. So then I'm left with 2/3 add 5/6. As you can see here. So I'm going to leave my integers now. I've got that I can add on at the end. Now I've got a problem here because the denominators are different, 3 and 6. I can't just add the numerators together. I need to find an equivalent fraction first of all. So we need to find the lowest common multiple of 3 and 6. If I do my 3s and my 6s, I can see that that lowest common multiple, if I move my head out of the way, is 6. That's in both times tables. So I need to times 3 by 2 to get to 6, which means I need to do the same to the numerator, which means that 2/3 is equivalent to 4/6, as we can see from our fraction equivalent there. Now that the denominators are the same, it's a much easier job for me. All I need to do is add the numerators together. 4 add 5 is 9, which means that 4/5 add 9/5 is the same as, 4/5 add 5/6 is the same as 9/6. And I can also prove that by colouring in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I've got 5 to do in red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which I can see is 6, 7, 8, 9 altogether. Now, because my fractions have been shown to me as mixed numbers, I can't have a mixed number and an improper fraction. Now, I can see from here that this is the equivalent of 1 whole and 3/6. So that's what I can change that to a mixed number, which means that my whole numbers added together were 3. My fractions added together were 1 and 3/6. So I need to add those two answers together. 3 add 1 is 4. We just add the fractions on. So my answer is 3 and 9/6. Or if I change it so that it's a mixed number, 4 and 3/6. Now I can simplify that even further if I wanted to, because both 3 and 6 can be divided by 3. That is also the equivalent of 4 1/2. If you want to start doing that in your sums, then you absolutely can, but don't worry about it if you're not too sure. So let's have a look at another one. So here we've got 2 3/4 plus 2 3/8. So let's draw those fractions and see the physical equivalence of them. So you can see for 2 3/4, I've got 2 wholes and 3 out of 4 equal parts. And for 2 3/8, I've got 2 wholes and 3 out of 8 equal parts. Again, I'm going to partition my numbers into whole numbers and fractions. So into 2 3/4 and then 2 3/8. So I've got 2 add 2 and then 3/8 add 3/4. 2 add 2 I know is 4, so I can leave that for now and I can come back to that towards the end. 3/8 plus 3/4 I can't do yet because the denominators aren't the same, which means that I need to find the lowest common multiple. Now I know that 4 times 2 is 8, so I'm going to use 8 as my lowest common multiple. If I have to times the denominator by 2, I also have to times the numerator by 2, which means that the equivalent is 6/8. Now, if I do 6/8 add 3/8, let me just add that in here. So I've got my 6/8 in here already, and then I will add 3/8 on. 1, 2, 3. You can see I have 9/8 altogether, or 1 whole, which can go and join the other wholes, and then 1/8. So that means that my answer will be 5 wholes altogether. And then let me drag these across so that it's a little easier for me to do this. And 1/8. So your job today, let's go through them. There's 3 different activities as always. There are a few more steps for this because it's adding mixed numbers. So for the first one, let's see, let me get rid of these messages that are coming through. So for the first one, I've already partitioned them. So you've got your integers here. So 1 add 2 is 3. And then you've got already done for you what the equivalent fractions are that you need. And then you've got, so 1/4 plus 1/2. 1/2 is the same as 2/4. 1/4 plus 2/4 is the same as 1 2 3/4, which means that in my answer, I'm going to have 3 wholes and 3/4. Now for activity 2, you've got the same thing except for the fact that your job is to fill in the bar models. So 4 add 2 is 6. 1/4 plus 1/2, I have to fill in here. So I will represent 1/4 there. I will represent 1/2 there, equals 1/4, which stays the same. And 1/2 turns into 2/4. And then which means I've got 1/4 plus 2/4, which leaves me with 3/4, which means that I've got 6 and 3/4. So that's going to be your job for activity 2. For activity 3, you've got the same, except you haven't got any of the help underneath. So 4.5 plus 2 and 4.25 plus 2.5. 4 add 2 is 6. I know that 1/4 and 1/2 I'm adding together. 1/2 is the same as 2/4. 1/4 add 2/4 gives me 3/4. You can do any working that you need to underneath. That's absolutely fine. So that's your job for today. Have a go with it. Use those representations to help you if you can. If you need to do it on a piece of paper, that's absolutely fine. It might be that the representations look a bit better for you if they're on top of each other, which I ran out of room a little bit on the PowerPoint. But let me know how you get on. Good luck. And then, yeah, use the knowledge that you've picked up from the last few days to have a go at those.